Hello, we are here for the I guess our August show. We kind of missed July. We took, I guess, I'll say a little summer hiatus, but we're back. I'm making no guarantees for September. We can only promise August as of right now.
Yeah.
We were running late because we were holding out waiting for Kirk, but he hasn't arrived yet, so we figured we better go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna make an announcement about something that Kirk has totally organized. I can't take out any credit for this at all. But Kirk's going to OH. When is OH? It's just in a few weeks, isn't
It's
it?
yeah, it's the week of first week of October, I think.
Okay. That's right. Yeah, because he says OH. Okay, that's right. First week of October. So he has managed to get a free registration to give away tonight. But there's certain rules that we have to follow. So he sent the rules, and I'm going to read them out. First, the person needs to be a registered user on the OH website. 2, they need to provide a review for their surgeon or surgery center. And 3, they have to give Kirk their OH, or I guess any of us in the chat, that they give us their OH username. And from that list, Kirk is going to select the winner to announce later tonight. Well, he didn't say tonight. He just said later. So I don't know if he means tonight or
Oh yeah, I
tomorrow,
don't think it would
maybe.
be tonight. I think you're gonna have to go do the
Yeah,
review and stuff. So
we'll let people have a couple days to watch and comment and that kind of thing. Now, how are we doing comments on the show tonight?
we're doing them in the video comments below the video that's actually streaming live.
Oh, good. So it's like the old way it used to
Yeah,
be.
that way everybody can see them after the show's over too.
Oh,
So
I prefer that. I don't know why
yeah,
they ever strayed from that. So awesome.
yeah.
Okay, so we've gotten so many like topic points to like that we can talk about. I really wanted to wait for Kirk because he had lots of things that he wanted to talk about too. But I think what I might do is start with that group of questions that we got this afternoon. We had someone who is pre-op, and the person did not want to be named, so definitely respect privacy. But he had a bunch of questions, and so I thought we could just run through those because a lot of them are real kind of pre-op type questions, but they kind of run the gamut all the way through to maintenance. So I thought they were pretty good to kind of get us rolling. Okay, so 1, what health obstacles occurred before weight loss stopped? Gallbladder problems, diarrhea, food you could no longer eat, hair loss, vitamins still needed every day. Those are all like his kind of questions. So, I mean, I know I have things, but I've been chit chatting, so you go first.
Damn it! Yeah, no, I did not have any real health issues. I did have some hair loss. But it's totally fine now, as you can see.
It's terrible, right?
No, it's fine. I just did everything I was supposed to do. I took the vitamins and stuff. I never really had any problems. I think when I was eating super clean and then I would go off, I would have something like dumping in the sense of that, but it was very rare and it happened only once in a great while. And I think it was just because I was eating things I wasn't used to. I don't think it was anything like a true dumping syndrome.
Right.
I have still not thrown up. Still have not thrown up since surgery. But I mean, you can push it. You can eat too much and you will. I've come close.
I have one episode, and I blame it on dumping because I had like a kind of a sugary alcoholic beverage, but it was probably like I probably drank half the drink, which I mean,
Yeah.
it definitely wasn't the alcohol. I think it was the sugar and the alcohol. And I had just finished eating dinner, we had gone out to eat. I think it was our anniversary. So it was kind of a rich dinner mixed with a sugary drink. And my stomach was just like, yeah, no. So, but out of almost 5 years, that's the only time. That's
Wow.
the only
That's
time.
good.
And that was just like, I don't know. That was last September. It's almost a year ago.
Yeah, but no, I don't think any health issues at all.
I got hypoglycemia at 6 months. I started with the low blood sugar problems, and
Ooh.
my doctor had said it was because I was eating basically no carbs. I was eating extremely low carb. I was not eating any vegetables, any fruit, nothing. And they said that I needed to start incorporating a little more carbs into my diet. But even then, it took me a few months to really get it regulated because I could never get the rhyme or reason to it as what would trigger it. It would happen sometimes early in the morning on a Saturday morning at the gym. And all I'd have was like a cup of yogurt in the morning. And I eat the Faye, so it wasn't even like I had a sugary yogurt that way, spike it and then drop it. It just would be for no reason. And even now, I'll still, like, every few months I'll get an episode of it, but I know what to expect now, and I'll feel it coming on, and I'll just have a sip of juice or some little bit of sugar, and it stops it right away.
Yeah, I did have the low blood pressure thing where you stand up and pass out. That was
Oh,
really
you
good fun.
did? Yeah, you passed out a
I
couple of times, huh?
I had that happen a couple times, and there was like a window, like there was a window in the weight loss where it was toward the end, but not
Yeah,
quite the goal, where I had that happen twice, and it would happen often. I'd stand up and I'd have to grab onto something and kind of hold on, but two
right.
times I actually passed out, hit the floor. So,
And
so
that's
you learn
interesting.
to sit up slowly and okay, now how do I feel? Okay, now I stand up, and then you kind of hang onto the bed for a second. Am I good? Okay, and
Right,
then you go. And maybe that's why I haven't done it again because I do that now all the time. But
right.
every once in a while, I'll still get that lightheaded when I stand up feeling, but it's not
It's
common.
not
And
like
then,
it was. Yeah.
no, and I still take probiotic every day, vitamin D every day, which I was taking vitamin D before, but I do about 5,000 units because my vitamin D is low.
Me too.
Well, if I don't take it anyway, I do red yeast rice, just one for the day. I do vitamin B on occasion, multivitamin every day, and then I think that's it. I think that's everything. So, yeah.
Well, I do like multivitamin D, B, because I do a that's what do they call it? Like a super whatever B, where it's like all the B's mixed
Oh, B
together. And
complex. Yeah.
yeah, B complex. Because my surgeon has said that was like one of the things they actually had a patient who had neurological problems because they never took their B vitamin, and so I always take it. But I'll take iron a few nights a week. I do it before I go to bed. That way it's not mixing with my calcium. Um, Geez, what I take all kind of stuff. I'm really good about taking my vitamins, and I think that I took vitamins before surgery, so it's not like I feel like it's just because of a surgery deficiency. It's just I think that it's important. Um,
Yeah. Because I'm a 44-year-old guy who likes to work out. So, who
right.
wants to be healthy? That's just, I have to take vitamins. So,
Hold on, Kirk's texted me something, and I'm like, wait, oh, oh, wait. Well, let me get you started on because I wanted to talk about that hair loss. I did have hair loss. Mine started at 12 weeks out. It lasted almost until I was a year out, and I was like freaking out severely. And all I wanted during that time was somebody to tell me that one, it was going to stop, and two, my hair was going to come back. And I'm here to tell you, it's going to stop and it's going to come back. It took about another year for my hair to fill back in, but I would never trade the weight loss for a year of crappy hair. It was
yeah.
totally worth it. Foods I can no longer eat. Mm, I don't think there's anything that I completely can't eat. There's things that don't necessarily agree with me. I can have a couple of, like ice cream. I can have a few bites of ice cream, but something about the texture of full fat ice cream really upsets my stomach. It does not go down well normally.
I wish I had that problem.
I don't know. It's something about the frothiness. It just, I still like the taste of it, obviously, because I'll still have a couple of bites, but I know yeah, I need a cut off. I haven't had any gallbladder problems. I know you haven't either. I don't think Kirk has, but I mean, lots of people do. It's really, really common. After I never had diarrhea issues. I have the opposite problem.
Yeah, that's why I
Um,
take the probiotic. I mean, that's why I started taking the probiotic. Once I started taking that, I never had a problem again beyond normal, just being dehydrated or something like that. But
I
yeah.
always had issues. So I always take Colace every day, and then some days I'll also do Miralax. But I just got into a routine of that, and then it's
Yeah,
fine.
it becomes second nature. You don't think about it. It's not like it.
Right. Okay. Number two, he has. Have you replaced eating with any new behaviors when currently under stress? What are they? Well,
Well, let's see. So, no, I mean, that is a good question. I still catch, I think the conversation I was having the other day is now I catch myself, like, I'll get stressed and be like, oh, I want to eat a candy bar. And I'll be like, no, you don't want to eat a candy bar. You just are stressed. Like, I know
right.
now that's why I do it.
Right.
I do tend to, although I've decided I'm not, I've decided I'm kind of stopping this too. And I have stopped it rather, is I do tend to go toward alcohol more often. Like I'll have
Yeah.
a drink at night or something like that. Um, sometimes it's a strong drink and sometimes it's just a drink. But I just decided I'm gonna hold off just from now till my birthday at least, if I can, and maybe I'm allowing myself one drink a week. you know, because I don't want to
That's
make
what
a rule that's going to cause me to fail, right? So
right.
I'll have a drink and that's it. And then, but yeah, I tend to go to that more. And then what else I notice? Then I think I'm just more aware that I do it. Like before, I didn't even realize I was eating to feel better. I just did it. You know, like, so
Right.
I realize I'm starting to do it and I'll stop. It's like, even if I eat a little chocolate thing at work, little unwrap one, and I'll stick. Whoa, what are you doing? Stop. You know, like, so.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've always had the kind of thought that it's basically part of who we are, that if everybody needs something to help them relieve stress. So if you need to stress eat, try and pick the healthiest thing. Like, don't try and not eat, because I find all it does is make you think about food even more. So I try and chew gum a lot. And I'll notice when I'm really under a lot of stress, because one morning I woke up and I said, oh, God, I must have been grinding my teeth all night. And I thought about it the day before. I had chewed gum like it was going out of style, because I was stressed. And so I think gum chewing is kind of my go-to thing. But then sometimes I just say, you know what? F it. I'm eating a little treat. And if it's comfort eating, it's comfort eating. It's not going to kill me. I'm not doing it every day. So if this makes me feel good in the moment, maybe once in a while, that is an okay thing to do. You know, I'm not one of those militant, you're never going to do bad things again. That's just not realistic.
I think I'm at that part where I want to drop back down to 220, 215-ish. I'll get to 220, see how it feels. But in order to do that, I've had to kind of like tighten up and clean up my eating. So when I get that urge to like eat, now what I do instead is like, okay, you can have all the chicken breast you want. Go eat.
Right.
Like, go grab a big bowl, because I know I can't eat much of it. So like I'll eat like
3 ounces.
4 ounces. I'm like, ooh, I gotta stop.
Yep,
The bad things are gonna happen. But even if I did that 4 times a night, it would still only be about 120 calories per. I mean, I wouldn't do it 4 times a night, but still, if I did it 4 times, it'd be 400-ish calories, 450, 500 calories, which is not detrimental, and it's protein. So eventually, I'm gonna get all those sugars out of my system, and the craving is gonna go away. And so I think it's just trying to replace it with things I know I can't eat a lot of that are good for me. So
yeah, and I found a good strategy too when I want something sweet. Like, I really like M&Ms, and I go through phases where I don't have M&Ms for months, but then I'll want them. And then what I've tried to do lately is eat them after eating a full meal, so then I can't eat that much or it'll make me nauseous. Where if I just eat it on an empty stomach, I could eat a lot and really do some damage. So that's another little strategy I do too, when I know I'm going to want it, you know. All right, here's 3. After you hit your lowest weight and began to regain, what was that like? What did you have to adjust? What were you doing that was no longer working? Well, I always say nothing changes. Like, if you want your weight to stay the same, nothing changes. And I know for me, things changed. I had alcohol more often, more frequently. And then I've really done a lot of analysis about this, going back and watch some of my old videos, trying to figure out how I could get back down to my lowest weight and what was I doing back then that I'm not doing now, blah, blah, blah. And it's the little things, like picking on crackers. Like, I never did that when I was in my losing phase. I never did that. And so I think those little things creep in and they all add up, especially when you do it on a daily basis, you know. And even after I really reined in the drinking, and like maybe once a week, maybe not even that often, the weight doesn't just drop off. Like, you expect it. No, it's not going to just drop off. It gets a lot tougher. So if you don't want any regain to happen, nothing changes from the losing stage. But realistically, do we know anybody who has 100% nothing changes?
No.
Yeah, no.
No, I don't think I know anybody. I mean, I'm sure they're out there, but I don't think I don't know anybody who got to their lowest, whatever that was, and didn't come back up about 15, 20 pounds. Whether that was because they realized they went too low, or they changed the way they were living, or, I mean, I'm guilty of it. I was at 202 at one point, which I looked like a bobblehead. I was way too thin. Not a lot of muscle structure. I got back to 215. I felt about right. I'm about 228 right now, which I just doesn't feel quite right. It just feels a little off. It's not horrible, but now's the time to do it. But you're right. I mean, remember, when you get close to goal, your weight loss starts slowing down because you have less to lose, right? So, I think that what you are now living in, so now we have the same problem that every other normal person on the planet has had. Like, hey, I need to lose 5-10 pounds. But on top of that, I've still got my slow metabolism. And in order for me to drop, I still have to drop back to 1,800 calories. And I have to eat very clean. And I'm not 1,800 calories, I'm sorry, 800 to 1,200 calories. And I have to eat very clean. And I can't I can't have sugars. I can't have complex carbohydrates, or I'm sorry, simple carbohydrates. I can't be picking at crackers. I can't be picking at chips. I can't be picking at, even if it's just small amounts, I just can't do it at all. So to lose, that's what I have to do. And then
Right.
I can pick at stuff if I want to maintain as long as I'm working out. But like when I
Yeah.
hurt my shoulder, I stopped working out. I was still picking at crap. My weight started creeping up. And then it's hard to like commit to like, do I want, like my life's pretty good. I'm doing all the things I want to do. I mean, I went ice skating the other day for the first time and did awesome. I could tell my general fitness really helped with that. Like I picked it up really fast and I'm like, oh, well, I'm doing pretty great. Do I care that I weigh this? Yeah, I still care I weigh this. But do I really care enough to want to do all the hard work to change it? That's where I start getting, that's what it's like. Do I want to give up all these things?
Right.
I have to. I do have to. So it's,
Well, and that's what I struggled with for like the last year. I've been going back and forth in my head. Like, I'm not terribly upset with the way I look, but I'm not as low as I was. And I would like to be like where I was, but how bad do I really want it? And I'm back and forth. But I've just recently, I actually, about, I don't know, maybe a month ago, I made a couple of videos that I didn't make public, and it was abdominal workouts, 2 different videos. And when I watched it back, I was like, that is not what I thought I looked like. I look way bigger than what I envisioned. And I was like, that's it. Yeah, I'm really not happy with the way I look. I've been telling myself I'm happy with the way I look, and I guess I am for the most part, but I just didn't like what I saw in that video, and I thought, you know what, this is it. I've got to do something to change, and so I've really tightened up, and I've lost, and I'm happy, and my workouts have been good for months now, so I knew it wasn't my level of fitness. It's totally what I'm putting in my mouth, So
yeah. I think if you need to draw a line in the sand and tell yourself, like, you need to draw a line in the sand, like, okay, if I ever cross 225 for me, 225, I have to address this. Like,
Right.
It doesn't make it any easier though. Your head will still be like, oh no, I still want to go eat a cookie. Or
Exactly.
one cookie. Normal people eat one cookie. It's not going to hurt me. Blah blah blah. But you won't lose weight. You just, I won't. If you have a very normal metabolism and your problem has always just been overeating, and the tool fixes the overeating piece, then you may be okay with that. But I'm not, because that was not just my only problem. So.
Yeah, I think we're both extremely carb sensitive, and that's what I found. Like, since I've cut out the carbs, the weight's fallen off. When I try and teeter with it and do it low and not tight, it doesn't do anything. Doesn't matter how much I work out, it doesn't matter. It's still, I've been wanting to stay between like 186 and 189, and I'll go up 189, feels horrible, so then I'll lose a few pounds, but then I can never get much lower than like 185, and I have to work extremely hard. And I'll tell John, it pisses me off that I have to work this hard to stay this chubby, and he's like, I don't know what to say to that, Tony. I think you look good, so poor thing, he doesn't know. All right, Kirk needs me to call him. He's having technical difficulties getting in.
Okay.
All right.
Oh no.
Let me do this.
So while you're doing that, let me see if I can go find some more questions, and feel free to add them in the chat if you guys have them. If there's anything left that you don't know about me already. Mike VSG was saying he's lost 15 pounds of regain in 8 months, but that'll go to show you, like, 15 pounds in 8 months. I think that's pretty healthy, pretty smart, pretty even keeled. And like even Brad was saying, like he said, his lowest was 160.
What password?
He went back to 170. But I think a lot of that is like,
oh my God. I don't have,
working out. But then again, to his point, like when I work out, I crave a lot more foods, more carbs. And so then I end up eating them. And then my clothes feel not horrible, but they just don't feel right. I don't know how to explain it. Like my pants all fit still, everything's still okay. It's just
using your phone. You think you could do this from your phone?
Uncomfortable. I don't know. Not like in the olden days where like these don't button. But it's definitely one of those things that kind of gives me a little panic thing. And there's definitely one of those situations where you can very easily kind of get back into that whole, having to be very conscious of what you're eating if you want to be in the losing phase. And it's harder when you're down and happy and doing things and skiing and kayaking and ice skating and snow skiing and having a good time. So keep it in mind if that helps at all. Let's go back in here.
Oh no.
Okay, news first. No, let's go back to the Facebook stuff. So, Carrie asked, she said she's not sure if this is relevant, but if you get a chance to answer, do any of you know the difference between the syntax matrix
Me?
cookies and cream versus the syntax
Yeah. I think
double
the only thing you could do, I think,
I
is you could
don't
use your
use that
phone
one.
and go
So if
to, do you have
anybody
Messenger on
in
your
the
phone?
chat knows anything about
All
it,
right.
I'll be
Then if you
happy
go
to
to,
make sure that I ask the guys when they come back. But yeah, I tried Matrix and I don't think I much cared for it. So I'm sorry, I can't help you with that, but again, I'll ask again when Tanya comes back or if Kirk gets logged in. I just muted Tanya so she could talk with Kirk. So if you suddenly heard her go away, that's what it was. All right. Yeah, a lot of this Kirk really had some very specific stuff he wanted to talk about tonight. I kind of want to save all that stuff for him because he had we had kind of chit-chatted about it early, kind of like, hey, where do we want to take this, etc. But it's kind of hard to do when he's not here. So let me see.
yeah.
Tell you back. Okay, you did good. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So he's working on it. He's trying to work it out. So I had more questions. We had Jeff. Are we okay to go to?
Oh yeah. One second
okay.
before you do that, I went to the Facebook question that I knew was there.
Yeah.
That was about the matrix. Do you use the matrix proteins?
I have.
Okay, so there's a cookies and cream versus the syntax nectar double stuffed cookie. Do you know any difference between those two?
No, I've heard the double stuffed cookie is good, but I've only used the peanut butter cookie, and it's delicious, like so freaking good.
I think I tried it, and it didn't do anything for me. So yeah, try it. If you can get a sample of them, I would contact Matrix and see if you can get a sample pack of each and try them out.
Yeah, a lot of times they'll send you the samples, and no, the peanut butter I used to make like just a plain shake with like almond milk, the unsweetened almond milk, and to me it smelled and tasted just like Nutter Butter cookies, like those. I used to love those. So yeah, I definitely recommend that. But I've never tried any other flavor, so I don't know. Okay, so Jeff Harbridge had messaged me. He wants to know about he said he's had a summer of misbehavement, and he's ready to get back on the wagon. And he said that and I said, let me know if you have any questions or topics, since he brought that up. And he said that his love and his mortal enemy is beer. So he said he's been struggling. I said, well, is it frequency, or is it the amount that you're drinking, or is it both? And he said mainly frequency, like I guess like daily having a couple of beers or whatever. And how do you kind of shake that? And I know for myself, I went through a phase where I had at least one cocktail every day. Just, I won't say it was an addiction, definitely not an addiction, but oh wait, Jim Haney just said I'm not on the screen. It hasn't switched back, so it must be.
Oh, I know what's wrong. Hang on.
Okay.
There we go. Sorry, go ahead.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
But I think it gets to be just like a routine thing. Like, oh, I've had dinner. The kids have gone to bed. I'm going to fix a cocktail. And then, I mean, those are calories. Those are added, a couple hundred calories every night. And then those calories start adding up. And yes, where regain comes in. And then you have a big night out and you drink more than one cocktail, and then you lose your inhibitions and you have lots of snacks when you get home from drinking, and it just snowballs from there. So I think you kind of have to white knuckle it for a little while and say, I'm not going to have that during the week anymore, and it's going to suck for a little while.
So, just to kind of put it in context, Shock Top was one of the beers I think he mentioned. It's 167 calories, and there's 14 carbs in there. Let's compare that with one shot of vodka is 64 calories. I don't know the carbohydrates.
No carbs in vodka.
No carbohydrates. I'm saying if you want to wean yourself off the beer, maybe switch over to a shot and then back that down. Because the problem with that, though, is like, to your point, anytime I drink, I want a snack, and my inhibition goes down, or I want more to drink. It's like that. I feel relaxed. My arm doesn't ache anymore from working out. My back isn't sore. I'm not stressed out. Let's have more must be better. So
Well, and
we're out of diet juice. Well, with a little regular juice, like that doesn't help. So.
Well, and I've talked to a few people about that too, like how it can go into like a bit of a transfer addiction because a lot of people that we know, have insomnia issues and they're like, well, I'll just have a drink or two just to settle down for the night, to relax and to get a bit sleepy. And then next thing you know, you have to have it to go to sleep. And then you're waking up and you're like, I guess I'll have another one so I can relax again and go back to sleep, and that's where that can snowball into, a dependence on it. So, I mean, I definitely think it's something to watch. Obviously neither one of us are going to be one to say don't drink because no, but it can easily creep up on you without really thinking too much about it. And then, like I said, I think it becomes a daily habit and routine, not always a transfer addiction, but you just gotta, just like you had to give up eating a cup of ice cream every night, you got to give up the beer every night, and just do it, cut back to twice a week and then once a week,
Yeah. And I mean, I think, like I said, don't just, I mean, if you can go cold turkey and it doesn't bother you, great. But like to your point, backing it down is probably the smarter move. I even will say, and if you don't trust, you won't go back for more, buy the little shooters of vodka.
Right.
And be like, okay, tonight I'm going to have these 2 and that's it.
Right.
Like, and I've done that. I've had the 2 coffee espresso ones, the Van Gogh espressos.
Yeah.
Pour them in a cold brew coffee and then just drink that.
Spike
and then,
coffee.
Okay, that's it. I'm done. Like,
I love spike coffee.
like, now I can't drive to go get more because I've had something to drink.
That's right.
and there's not a fridge of a big 175, big 175 rather. So I don't have to worry about pouring another one, Not that I would, but I could. You know what I mean? So
yeah, right.
There have been times where I'm like, oh, vodka and juice.
Right.
That's a lot of vodka. So
exactly.
half a cup of vodka is a lot of vodka. So yeah. It's it. If you just don't trust that if your inhibition is gonna be down, you don't trust you can control that. I'm not saying that you have this drinking problem and you have to drink, but just buy the 2 little shooters and then you can't get more. That's it.
Right.
It's gone. It's like buying 2 pieces of candy. They're gone. They don't go back to the box and get another 2 pieces.
Right. Because I still have no control with that. If I know it's in the house, I want to eat all of it and get rid of it. So yeah. Let's see. I think we need to switch to I guess it's the Facebook questions.
Okay.
I need to switch over to that because I think we had gotten a few comments on our original post when we announced the show. So let's see.
Oh, wait, on the original one. Oh, that's all right. I missed it. Okay. There we go.
Okay. So, Carrie Satin. I think that's how she says her name, Satin. Hot topic right now for me is dating, which I don't know if any of us are going to be a help since we're all married, but well,
wait a minute.
oh, that's right. You're not. Oh, God, what am I thinking? Yeah, you're dating. All right. She said, this still kind of freaks me out. I'm about to move to a new city, starting a new program. I think she's going into she's a chef program. Let's see. And it would be nice to date again, but wrapping my head around that mental game is super challenging for me. So how do you wrap your head around dating again?
I think you have an advantage because you're moving to a new city where nobody knows that you are big. We'll get to where that's going to still get complicated, but if you don't bring it up, nobody's ever going to know. So, and I know that there's a compunction to bring it up. Now I'm dating a normal person. Again, I'm trying not to say normie anymore. No, I heard John Steele's normie once, and I don't want to say it. But I'm dating somebody who's not that they haven't had their own personal challenges, I'm sure, and everybody's got that 20-pound weight thing. Everybody does that, but I'm sure at some point in everyone's life they've gained and lost, but they keep a more tight control. I'm talking about our 100-pound, 150-pound.
Yeah, so surgery needed. Yeah.
Yeah. So she says I bring it up a lot. Like even if I don't if I only eat a couple bites of something, I'm like, oh, I just can't. Like my stomach's too small. It's just like you don't have to bring it up all the time. So if you don't bring it up, it won't be an issue. But the trick is if you've spent all this time kind of like being in the community and just being used to sharing it all, it's second nature to you, just part of your life. So I would argue don't share until maybe you're down the line a ways. The intimacy piece will depending on your skin issues, that might be
Yeah.
a little bit unnerving. I'm not gonna lie, that was a
But
little unnerving.
I don't know what I would do. I don't know. I haven't thought about it, but I don't know, because I've known people who have not told like right away, and then a few dates in, told. And I know one person who had a really bad experience, and the guy was like, "Oh, well, do you think you're gonna gain it back? Like,
Well, you want to know that
if
about the
so, I'm
person.
out." You know, and so
No,
it's
you're out
like,
anyway. Now that you said
right.
that, you're gone. So yeah,
You're definitely out,
yeah.
yeah. But it's like, do you want to waste 2, 3, 4 dates before you find out that this is how the person feels? You know, I mean, so then part of me feels like maybe you should say something up front. I just,
But is it
I
really
don't know.
relevant to who you are now? I mean, I get it. I don't believe me. I mean, of all people, who I am now is because of that journey. I mean, and that
Right,
journey was a domino effect. It was, you know, hey, I'm probably going to live to see my grandkids. Hey, I can do these new things in life that I've always wanted to do. Hey, I want somebody to go do those things with me. Hey, I've got these problems in my personal life. Hey, it's that divorce, struggles, blah, 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 all the way to where I am now. I mean, all those things
right,
happen because of a decision. So who you are now, though, like if just you pick yourself up and transplant yourself, nobody knows any of that. They're just, you're the new guy in town or the new girl in town, and just enjoy it for what it is and go slow if you are concerned with adjusting to it. There's no rush.
right.
I'm told I go too slow in the dating world, but I guess in the modern world I'm a little bit too old fashioned, but it all worked out in the end. I mean, it took a lot of push pull and back and forth, and
Right,
that had more to do with just me as a person, and the other person as a person. It really didn't have to do with the weight per se, but then again, how can I say that? Because everything about who I am now kind of came from that. So,
I
or
know
not everything,
it's
but
difficult.
it's a version of me. It's an enhanced version of me. There was who I was minus some of the baggage, and then some of that baggage is still there. And then, the new stuff I gained from it, the confidence and stuff. So I don't know.
Right.
Um,
That's,
but
I don't know.
intimacy is a whole other animal.
Yeah.
That's just going to be personal comfort. I saw a great video today, and if I can find it, I will. But it was one of the regulars. She's been 2 years out, and she's having huge mental struggles with the whole intimacy piece, and ended up kind of ending the relationship because she just couldn't get past her own physical concerns
Like
with herself.
she couldn't
Yeah.
get comfortable
She couldn't
opening
get
up for
comfortable, and it
something.
started making her withdraw more and more and more. So the more it happened, the more she,
Withdrew.
pulled away. I guess it's kind of like a guy. If you start getting nervous
Yeah,
and you can't
it's not gonna
perform, you're
happen.
not going to perform it all that night because
Right. Now it's
it's a
in your head,
self-fulfilling
and
prophecy. Yeah, you're just going to snowball. So,
oh, in some ways I could see where not being married, going through all this would be easier because you wouldn't have anybody else to worry about. It's emotions. You can go through all your crazy emotions and not owe anybody else an explanation or whatever. But then that whole part of it, that seems really difficult too, navigating through. Who do you tell? What do you tell? How much do you tell? I mean, I know for me, being overweight for most of my life is a big part of me, and I
yeah.
do think about it on a daily basis. So it is something that I think would come up pretty early for me, just because that's how I am. I think I probably hyper focus on fitness and different things that I eat because of it. And so I think it would be a little bit odd if I didn't say something. I think somebody would think, well, she's kind of obsessive about that, like that's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean, like if it came up in a conversation, like, hey, I noticed last couple times we got out, like you didn't eat much, or are we going to restaurants you don't like or something? Like maybe the guy's like, oh man, maybe I'm taking this vegetarian out to these meat eating restaurants or something or whatever. And then I
Yeah.
think you can kind of say, well, hey, I really have to control my portion and things like that because I used to be very overweight and I lost a lot of weight and my metabolism is very slow. I mean, you could bring it up like that. And then if you want to, depending on how that goes, you might disclose how you did it. I mean, I always feel like I'm lying if I don't at that point. So it's a slippery
Right.
slope, right? It's a slippery slope.
Right. You don't want to get too far down the line and like, oh, well, have you been hiding it from me? Are you
Yeah.
ashamed about that? And you're like, well, no, but like, I don't know. It's a weird
Oh
thing.
yeah, I guess you could say, well, I had a crown put in too. I didn't tell you about that. And like, I
Right.
had a yeah, I had a mole removed. You know, some other kind of outpatient surgery. I had a vasectomy. I didn't bring that up on the first date or whatever. You know, like,
Right.
you know, like, I mean, maybe I should have. Maybe that would have closed the deal. But
Be more attractive. Yeah.
but I don't know. You know, so yeah, it's a just go slow, I'd say, and you know, I guess honesty is the best
Yeah.
policy. If they can't handle honesty, then I guess you're better off without them. So
Right. That's very telling. Yeah. If you
yeah,
tell them and they're totally okay with it and they don't, flinch at it at all, then I think that's a really good thing. That's a good sign because they obviously are going to be an accepting person. And if they do, I don't know, my gut would be like, ugh, get out
yeah.
because,
The other side of that coin, though, is not the weight, but the self-doubting and the inability to see myself the way I am now, and that stuff has definitely played into challenges in my relationship for sure. Like, you know, it comes across as a lack of self-confidence, which is never good when you're a guy. And
right. Or, girl either. Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, I think women get kind of like they find that super sexy when you're super confident, and when you're not, it's like, what's up with that? And then well, that definitely came up a few times. She's like, you need to see yourself the way I see you and other people see you. And I'm like, yeah, that's going to take years. You don't understand. That's going to probably take the rest of my life. So
Right.
and that's been a struggle for her. She's like, well, I don't get it because I've only known this you know, like, and so it's been a struggle. I'm not throwing her under the bus. This is not just her. I mean, not at all. I think she's being very honest with me about it. And it made me do some introspection and yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Be aware.
Well, that was a good question.
Yeah.
Let's see. Another one. Um, well, our original show topic we had said is when the weight loss stops, how to avoid inevitable maintenance, emotional, mental meltdowns. And Jim Haney said, if it's inevitable, why avoid it? Just embrace it, along with maybe a donut and an adult beverage. The Jim Haney program.
The Jim Haney. You know, Brad was just saying about dating. Brad saying he's finding it difficult to date and eat well. It seems meeting for dinner or drinks is common and it adds up. Also, I've had a few dates that I've eaten less than my date. Sounds weird to be self-conscious about that. Does that happen to you? Yeah, I mean, yeah, to the point, Brad, where I threw myself on the bus a few times. Like, you know, like I always bring it up. Like even now, like I'll go to dinner over at her house and I'll say, "Oh, I can't." You know, I'll make a comment about it. It's like we know you don't have to bring it up all the time. Just stop eating. Like it doesn't matter. It's cool. You know,
you don't have to make an excuse for it. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to explain it away every time. But yeah, no.
Right.
When I would go out though, I think anytime I go out, and I don't go out very often to dinner. So when I did start dating, that was weird. I did go out more. You know, just try and pick healthy stuff. Eat the proteins first. You know, pick up the other stuff, and then call it a night. Like, oh, full. You know, whatever. But
Right.
then drinks, yeah. It's again calories. You know, it's tough, but it's also a good social lubricant for nervousness. So I don't know.
But I think it's also good to let people know, like,
Kirk.
it's important to me. Yeah, Kirky's here.
Yeah.
But it's good to let people know that if I'm going to be dating you, like, healthy choices are important to me. So don't.
Yeah, and like, you do what you want, and don't change what you want to eat. Because me, I have this very strict metabolism and eating style I have to be on. So
Right.
don't let that be self-conscious. So
You are very strict.
I'm very strict. Taskmaster.